Hi, this is Eli Kranzberg, and welcome to this series on Session Strings Pro 2 by E-Instruments. In this series, we're going to take a fresh look at this instrument from the ground up and all the features that make it so great and unique sounding. And in this first video, I just want to kind of take a big overall look at the big picture of what this is about and where things are laid out, and then we'll dig into more detail in the subsequent videos. Now, Session Strings Pro 2 is a great sounding ensemble instrument, and it ships with two different versions of each of the sections. So we have basses, celli, violas, violins, and a full ensemble instrument. And we have modern and traditional, and the difference between the two is the spacing of the sections within the stereo image, how they were captured. And I'm going to start by just playing the same sequence that I have done up here on both the modern and traditional, switching back and forth so you can get a sense of the difference in terms of the stereo imaging of the two types of recordings that we have here. So I'll start with the modern voicings or spacings. Traditional. Modern. Traditional. So you can hear that they're spaced differently in the stereo spectrum. Now, I'm going to spend most of these videos working with the ensemble instruments since they have the most features and functions compared to the individual sections, although we will look at them throughout the videos. So what makes this unique? Well, there's a smart voice split system which allocates each note of a chord to the corresponding instrument group. So you can play a chord on your keyboard and have it spread out automatically for you. We'll explore this, and it's a really wonderful way of voicing your chords. There's also a rhythm animator that makes this unique, and it turns chords or single notes into rhythmic patterns based on step sequencer patterns. And again, we'll explore it. It's a nice way of generating realistic sounding phrases. There's also a smart chord mode that lets you play authentic voicings with just one or two fingers. So in other words, hit one or two notes and it'll spread out and create a voicing for you across the sections. There's also a nice full-featured mixer and effect section for some unique sounds. So let's look at where things are laid out. Now, there are four main controls that you see at the top here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Now, the first mode here we're working in can be velocity switch mode, which allows us to switch between articulations manually based on this velocity split point that we set with the slider. So in this sequence I've been playing you, I've been switching between a staccato and a forte piano, and I can alter where that split point is with this. So if I drag it down here, we're going to hear almost all forte pianos versus all staccatos. So that's a simple velocity split. Now we can also use a key switch mode where we have the different articulations that we use, and we can call up from this menu here, and we can set specific note on events to trigger the switch between articulations, or we can use the MIDI CC numbers that we assign in these fields, and there's even a learn mode, and again, we'll explore all this. Now, the next mode that we have to work with is the rhythm animator mode, and here we play back rhythms based on these step patterns while we sustain the note. So this is just a default pattern. I'll hold down one note, or I can hold down a couple of notes, and we can have it break the notes apart differently. And we'll explore this in more detail in future videos as well. And we have phrase animator mode. And here we play back preset phrases based on whatever palettes are loaded in. That's based on a single note being held down. So it's a nice tool for starting off your arrangements with these phrases. So those are the four main modes that we could work in. I'm going to go back to velocity switch for the moment. Now we have sound settings here, and this selects a preset effect configuration so we can quickly change how the overall instrument sounds. So these basically call up different effect settings based on what we find in the effects view over there. So different effects presets stored there. Here's where we toggle the smart voice split system on or off. And it basically divides the notes that you play between the different sections of the ensemble, depending on the range that you play. So for example, with this off, here's a B half diminished chord in closed position. And with it on, so it automatically splits it amongst the sections. Very powerful. Then we have the smart chord system here that creates chords from single notes. So I'm going to play one note. And here's that same one note with smart chord enabled. So it's a powerful orchestration tool, and we click on this tab to open up a more detailed window where we can set the root key and the quality of the chords and some different variations. And I'll click here to hide that view. We can control the size of the sections by clicking on them, and we can load or unload the different variations within each of the sections. And we can control the range, the split points between them for all these automatic voicings. And we have different views. So this is the main view. We have a mixer view over here with standard controls for volume, panning, but we also have sends for delay and reverb, and then detuning and transposing. And here we have the effects page. So here are the returns for those reverb and delay sends, and we can control different variations of them here. We have some nice insert effects, and color is really unique. It can give some nice modern, gritty, grainy quality sounds. We have an envelope here for the overall shape of each note and a humanized function. And as well, there's a settings page with some more overall control of the instrument. So that's the big picture. We'll dive into more detail in the next video.